Ukrainian comedian Volodymyr Zelensky has been sworn in as the country's new president at a ceremony in the capital Kiev. Mr. Zelensky, who has no previous political experience, scored a landslide victory in last month's presidential election. He ousted incumbent Petro Poroshenko, who had been in power since 2014. Mr. Zelensky has promised to tackle corruption and bring an end to the war with Russian-backed rebels in the east. The former television actor has said little since his resounding victory on the 21st of April. At the ceremony, Mr. Zelensky was given golden symbols of office, including a sceptre, which he held aloft in a victory salute. A choir in folk costume sang patriotic hymns to welcome him. Russian state TV said no Russian official had been invited to the inauguration. Mr. Zelensky is delivering his inaugural address in Ukrainian. But at one point, referring to the conflict in the east, he switched to Russian, saying, "I'm convinced that for this dialogue to start, we must see the return of all Ukrainian prisoners," apparently a message to the Russian government. There has been much political wrangling over the timing of Mr. Zelensky's inauguration. He had wanted to hold it on Sunday, a day of mourning for victims of Stalin-era repression in the country. But Parliament disagreed and voted to hold it on Monday morning. Mr. Zelensky starred in the long-running satirical drama Servant of the People, in which his character accidentally becomes Ukraine's president. He plays a teacher who is elected after his expletive-laden rant about corruption goes viral on social media. He ran under a political party with the same name as his show. With no previous political experience, Mr. Zelensky's campaign focused on his difference from the other candidates rather than on any concrete policy ideas. Despite this, he stormed to victory and won more than 70% of the vote. Mr. Zelensky is likely to be confronted with a range of serious issues once he takes office. He made tackling Ukraine's deep-rooted corruption a major campaign theme. Last month, his aides announced plans to scrap MP's immunity from prosecution and make military purchases more transparent. But perhaps the biggest challenges the new leader will face is the continuing conflict with Russian-backed forces in the east. In the run-up to his election, Mr. Zelensky said he wanted to renew relations with eastern Ukraine and start a powerful information war to end the conflict. Fighting in the region has claimed about 13,000 lives since Moscow annexed Ukraine's Crimea Peninsula in 2014. There have already been indications that Russian President Vladimir Putin is determined to test the political novice. Shortly after the election, Mr. Putin made it easier for those living in eastern Ukraine's separatist territories to obtain a Russian passport. The move was widely seen as a challenge to Mr. Zelensky. In a Facebook post in response, Mr. Zelensky's team labeled Russia an aggressor state which wages war against Ukraine. It called on the international community to provide diplomatic pressure and the pressure of sanctions. News script taken from BBC. Thanks for watching.